Good evening, everyone, and I'd like to call to order the January 13th, 2026 Board of Directors meeting for the South Granville Water and Sewer Authority. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate you attending these meetings, and we'll get right to our agenda. We'll start with a roll call. Madam Secretary, would you?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Gooch.
Present.
Commissioner Russ May.
Present.
Commissioner Robert Way.
Present.
Commissioner Georgiana Kaczynski.
Present.
Councilperson Tom Lane.
Present.
Councilperson Vicki Daniels.
Present.
Commissioner Kenneth McLean.
Present.
All are accounted for.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we will start with our, we'll have our invocation by Creedmoor City Commissioner Robert Way.
Good bow our heads and incline. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening. We ask you to please be with those in our community that are experiencing sickness and need your uplifting hand, Lord. We ask you to be with us, help us, and guide us as we discuss issues that face our respective communities, Lord. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. And now for our Pledge of Allegiance, our Vice Chair, Creedmoor Commissioner Georgiana Kaczynski.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, and this next item on our agenda is our conflict of interest declaration. Does anybody have a conflict of interest with anything that's coming before us tonight? I know we have a short agenda, and
Yes.
Okay, well, hearing none, then we'll go on to approval of the meeting agenda. Is there any adjustments that we need to make to the agenda? Hearing none, then we'll call for motion to approve the agenda as it stands.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion on the item? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, likewise. Ayes have it. Motion carries. And review of the December 9th, 2025 board meeting minutes. I trust everyone's had a chance to read the minutes. And is there any corrections? If there's no corrections to the minutes, then we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. The meeting. I'm sorry, meeting minutes. I got off the line here. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item is our public comments. Did anyone sign up for public comments tonight?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. And moving on to item 9, our board discussion items. And I think we have one item for tonight. Got ahead of myself here. Got to catch up. And our Vice Chair and Creedmoor Commissioner Georgiana Kaczynski had a item for discussion.
Okay, so with the SGWASA allowing the automatic hydrant flushers where water lines are not looped connections, once the subdivision is finished, the auto flushers become the responsibility of SGWASA. And I was wondering if there could be some sort of bond that we could get the developer to put up to pay for maintenance and repair of these auto flushers. Brames Crossing has, I thought it was 14, I think it's 11 auto flushers there. And one of the problems that I foresee with SGWASA, aside from the verbal criticism, is the fact that we get stuck with bills after a developer has come in and done something and walked away. And those bills eventually get paid by the ratepayers. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that we could do. I know we approve these hydrant flushers when they're installed according to our standards, but I just was wondering. I don't know how much maintenance and how much it can cost if one of them fails.
Sure. Well, thank you, Commissioner. If I may respond to that. So I did provide some information in the Q&A section in the top paragraph. You'll see regarding what we're doing presently. The short answer is we don't have a maintenance bond for utilities right now to cover our general utilities throughout that subdivision, to my knowledge. But we do have warranties on some of the equipment that gets installed as well. So I just want to remind the board, and I think it's apropos for this item here, that we are currently working on updates to our water and sewer specifications and drawings. We've been working with a consultant on that for the last several months. And based on this discussion topic, we're going to scratch the surface a little bit deeper and take a look at bonds, what type of maintenance bonds might be required, and look at developing those or putting those within the specifications. So, Commissioner, that's all I have at this point regarding that topic, but we appreciate you bringing that to our attention in this discussion item so we can follow up on that further and, of course, keep the board apprised of that. And, of course, any specifications that are upgraded must be approved by the board, and drawings for that item would actually come back to the board for further discussion, or anything else that is being upgraded for today's standards. Most of those standards and specifications were 2016, just to give you a reference point. So we're bringing those up to standards. Your second question, talking about maintenance and repair and manpower, if you want to ask that question, put that out there as well, because I do have a response for that.
No, go right ahead.
Okay. So you're looking at SGWASA setting the standard for reliable auto flushers, which we are. We already have a brand picked out, if you will, and the flushers looking to minimize the maintenance and repair. So what we've done is we've done some research for you in the board, and that's contained in a memorandum from the Assistant Executive Director and myself, which you'll find beginning on page 23. And this is looking at the cost savings and return on investment for a sample HydroGuard 300 series automatic flushing system for you. So in summary, I'm not going to read the entire memo to you, but basically what we do is we look at the cost comparison of sending a crew out basically to do manual flushing versus having these devices out in the system that are doing the flushing for us on a schedule. And keep in mind that these flushing devices come in various makes and models and features and Bluetooth and those type of things. So we looked at one of the units that we're using out there and recommending. It's an above ground automatic flusher. And we did, as you see on page 23 at the bottom of the memo on page 1, it talks about an annual cost comparison per location. So you can see we have some manual hydrant flushing that lists your approximations for labor, water usage, and vehicle and overhead. Total estimated annual cost, approximately $2,250 per location. And then we start to look at the HydroGuard 300 series above ground. We start to look at the estimated total annual operations and maintenance cost, which is about $1,425 per location. So suffice to say, page 2 of the memo on page 24, we look at the estimated annual cost savings for these units, which is highlighted. And then we also, I thought it was important to take a look at our return on investment over a 15-year financial period, approximately the useful life of a auto flusher. And you can see from that information below that for our planning and return on investment purposes, we assumed an installed cost of approximately $6,000 per unit. And then looking at over the lifetime of 15 years, you look at your manual flushing cost at just over $33,000. You look at the $21,000 cost for O&M for an auto flusher over that same period. Operating cost savings about just under $13,000, less our installed capital cost of $6,000. So you net out financially, your benefit is about $6,750 per location, which I think is good because overall, what we're looking at is we're trying to satisfy water quality and flushing throughout our service area to keep our water quality up. We're looking to maximize our investment in the ground, and we're also looking to minimize our labor out there on these tasks so that they can be doing other things that they're responsible for in the utility system. So we've provided for you just a summary statement as well in there about these units. Over a 15-year service life, each unit provides a net financial benefit of roughly $6,700, representing an estimated 110% return on investment while improving operational efficiency and water quality management. And then down below, I have a figure for you just to show you representation of what that device looks like. And the gray area around the device is actually the cover. You don't see, you would just see a gray cover, a green cover out in the yard, basically, for that. So I might have gone a little bit overboard as far as the explanation you're looking for, but I'm just trying to anticipate questions that the board members may have regarding return on investment, how these units would operate. And of course, we all know that there's fluctuations in your water system based on demand. So as a development is being installed, you have a lot of these units out there. As you have greater demand on your system, the water changes. Potentially, you might be able to pull one device off of an area based on water quality parameters and move it to another area as well. So there might be some opportunities for that. So I hope that I've answered all of your questions so far.
I just have one more question.
Sure.
How do you know when it malfunctions?
It would alert us that it's malfunctioning.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what the Bluetooth is for.
That's correct. And also pulling parameters from that, letting us know what's going on at that location and helping us set those parameters well for time of flushing, day of time, those type of things. So,
Okay, thanks.
yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, board members. Commissioner?
How does it tell you? Do you have a data center screen? How does it?
I'm not sure if this model actually bubbles up to a website for communications like some of our other equipment, or if it's actually just the Bluetooth where you would drive up near the unit and collect that information as you're driving by the units to get the information that you need.
So I guess my question would be is, how would you know when it's malfunctioning? Would it, so it will alert you if you're in close proximity and you can pick up on it.
Yep.
And so that would be based on, the alert would be based on how often you travel the lines to be able to detect, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. As far as I know. Now, I'm sure that they have models that you could port right up to the internet and monitor that as well, like SCADA systems. That wasn't part of the analysis here, but that's something we can get into
just
further as
curious
well.
as how it alerts
Yeah.
and how you actually physically know that it's defective.
Mhm.
Do we know how many units we would be looking at, try to deploy?
This would be on a per subdivision analysis. So depending on, for example, a new development coming in for us or existing development, looking at what we have throughout the area as far as water quality and where these devices would need to be positioned. We haven't done any analysis right now to say this is what we would use in this development. We have an item coming to you that's on the agenda this evening to talk about some unidirectional flushing that we're going to do, that we're proposing for a neighborhood. Based on those results, that'll give us some additional information as to where to put these devices in that neighborhood per se. So I'd have a better count for you once we start to look at each subdivision, if you will, or certain areas that have higher demands than others.
And this will be a new upfitting to the water pipe in that development. If we have existing developments, you would have to tap into an existing pipe to add this device with the cover and everything.
That is correct, yes. Yep.
You would have the contractor pay for this, is that correct?
In the initial development, we would look at that as part of our standards once they're developed, to say that it'd be a combination of loop lines or flushing devices or both, depending on the layout of the subdivision.
So that was going to be my question. I feel like new developments and new subdivisions should be all looped. But I prefer that over the all flushers, because that will prevent the need for it, right?
In some cases, yes. Yes, I think that you would use them in combination. Quite honestly, you do not want to loop two cul-de-sacs that are 800 to 1,000 feet apart from each other, because you have potentially an 8-inch or 12-inch line, 1,200 feet long, that has no draw off of it. You're just circulating water between 2 points. So we do take a look at that demand on that system, and therefore we would look at looping where it would be most beneficial, and then a combination of these devices in there as well to help with the water quality. And one of the things that is important in these newer developments, we all know that most of the developments come in phases over the course of several years. And my experience has been that usually the first person on the street is at the end of the cul-de-sac. And then it takes several years for the rest of the lots to be filled up. Well, you've got your full infrastructure in the ground. You have one family at the end of the cul-de-sac, 2 people, 5 people drawing water from that main. You don't have enough water being turned over in that water main during that time. Hence, a flushing device during that time to ensure that we've got great water quality from the start is important as that neighborhood fills up or that street, and then also as the phases are completed. So it's one of these things that we don't want to wait, obviously, till the end to do something like this. We want to catch it from the beginning to ensure we have that good water quality right from the beginning, and the circulation, which is important.
Because if you have too far of a distance, you really don't have the water actually moving.
Correct.
And it's just sitting and stagnant.
Correct.
Versus having one of these at a strategic point, which then keeps it moving,
That is correct.
jetting.
Yes.
So you will check out the old subdivisions too?
The what?
Older subdivisions?
Of course. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In all of our
Some
communities,
those-
in all the communities that we serve. Yes.
Okay.
So going forward with communities that are planned, and didn't Butner just got a new one coming in? So no, doesn't Butner have a new one just coming in?
Development,
No.
not Meredith.
So is the new design gonna stop dead-end piping, or are we gonna use these and allow them to keep doing dead-end piping? This will alleviate the issues with dead-end piping.
So would you rephrase that, please? The question?
So with the new subdivisions that haven't been approved yet,
Yes.
will the new design that SGWASA is working on,
Mhm.
would it allow dead-end piping because we have an auto flusher?
Yes.
Okay.
Combinations. That's what we talked about. In certain points, looping lines is great for the subdivision or outside the subdivision. And in certain points, you would want to have that device at that dead end, if you will, most likely a cul-de-sac, so that you have that capability to keep that water circulated.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done.
Okay. Any further discussion on this item? If not, that was our topic for discussion item.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
go ahead.
So, Mr. Director, just my edification. Each municipality has a planning department that sits down and meets with you guys, SGWASA, when and going over what they desire in their water system or the plans, and then you work with them to both meet what you believe is the best practice available, along with what they're requesting. Correct. So how does that work? So
Well, actually, not quite.
here's why I'm asking the question. So SGWASA is the water utility.
Mhm.
They are driving the train in regards to the, I guess, engineering and how they would like it would be ultimately, because they're going to actually manage the water system.
Correct.
So the input, explain that interrelation, that interaction with the planning departments on making sure that we get what we desire.
Sure.
The municipality actually gets what its desire in the outcome.
Sure. So first and foremost, it's a partnership. And we work with all the communities, the county, developers, planners, and administrative staff, city managers, and our engineering team and consultants. And so you, as a developer coming to the town of Butner, you would work with the town of Butner planning staff, the manager, and they would coordinate with us and say, we have this subdivision that's being proposed or this development. SGWASA is the utility. So Mr. Developer, Mrs. Developer, you will need to contact the utility and talk to them about this proposed development. At that point, we are in coordination with the community. And we say, tell us about your zoning. Tell us about the requirements. Where's the location? What is being proposed here? The type of use? Because obviously, when someone comes to us, they say, do you have enough capacity? And we say, for what? We have no idea what you're building. So once we find that out and work with the community, we work together as partners and try to figure out what the demands are going to be based on what the community will allow and also what the developer is proposing. And many times the development changes over time. And so when we work with the developers, we normally say, give us your worst case scenario on what your demand would be. And that's usually units per acre, if you will, so that we can count bedrooms or facilities or commercial development. And then we actually do hydraulic modeling and determine what is required by the developer on their site and possibly off-site to get utilities there. And we communicate that back with the community that we're working with, because sometimes there are changes at the community level that affect the design, which then results in design changes necessary for the utility. So it kind of goes back and forth, and it can be a month, it can be 5 years that this occurs until we finally get to a point where we can actually approve plans for construction for utilities, and there's many other things that go on beyond that. But that's the relationship that we have back and forth. Sometimes the developers will contact me directly. Most of the time they'll go to the community, and then the community pushes over to us, and we communicate in that direction. So
Collaboration is key, and partnership is the key.
exactly, it sure is.
So community, you just can't say, we don't like what SGWASA did. Because
Well, they can.
Well,
They can.
But my point being is,
We got no authority.
they should have been in close coordination with SGWASA to ensure the outcome.
Well, they are. And an example of that would be that sometimes, depending on the type of development, it may not have curb and sidewalks. It may have open ditches on one side versus the other. And we say our requirement is that the water valve box must be on the back side of the ditch, not in the middle of the ditch. So we request design changes, those type of things. But that's how we work back and forth. So I'm not sure if the community really cares where that box is or that valve or that hydrant, but we work with everybody to ensure we get the best
My
product.
point is that when you have an outcome,
Mhm.
it's of all involved,
It's very involved, yes.
all involved.
Yes.
Not just very involved, but all involved.
Yeah.
And so it's for me, the finger pointing, we don't need to have the finger pointing. If you're deeply involved in something and working in collaboration with the utility, and you're doing your stuff and they're doing their stuff, then when we get to the end of the road, we don't need to be doing this.
Yeah, I think we've had a very good relationship as long as I've been here. And I would have to say most of the frustration usually comes from design changes from developers.
Okay.
So
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right.
I
Any further?
think at any point, if you ever feel that the relationships aren't what they need to be, we'd like to know about it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I don't hesitate to contact people as necessary. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Any further comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 10 on our agenda. And this is a Board of Directors Act to officially receive the audit report for fiscal year 24-25. And our presenter tonight will be Ruben, because Richard is under the weather and can't be with us tonight. So we put you on the spot,
I
Ruben.
think Ruben likes this, and he keeps sending
Yeah.
Richard home.
At least he's smiling.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ruben.
Good evening, board. I'm Ruben Carlin, Assistant Finance Director. Agenda item number 10 is the fiscal year 2024-2025 audit report presentation. With me tonight is Carlene Evans from Winston Williams Creech Evans and Company. She was the lead auditor for our audit this year and will give the board a presentation here tonight. Following the presentation, there's a requested action. We ask that the board make a motion to officially receive the audit report for fiscal year 2024 and 2025. Some background, as required by the North Carolina General Statutes, each unit of local government and public authority shall have its accounts audited by a certified public accountant as soon as possible after the close of each fiscal year. The audit shall evaluate the performance of a unit of local government or public authority regarding compliance with all applicable federal and state agency regulations. Recently, the South Gravel Water and Sewer Authority's local independent auditing firm, Winston Williams Creech Evans and Company, LLP, completed their audit of SGWASA for fiscal year 2024 through 2025. Winston Williams Creech Evans submitted their audit findings in their independent auditor's report, which each SGWASA member which each SGWASA board member previously received a copy marked pending approval. The audit is being reviewed by the North Carolina Local Government Commission. Thus, the audit is pending approval. The presentation to and acceptance by the SGWASA board is tentative upon LGC approval without significant or material changes. If significant or material changes to the audit are required, an update will be presented to the board at a future meeting. Financial highlights. I will not go over these, not to steal Carlene's thunder, because she will be addressing most of these during her presentation. And so with that, I'll introduce Carlene Evans with Winston Williams Creech Evans.
Thanks, Ruby.
Yes, good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Before I completely get into the summary of the audit this past year, I wanted to try to first explain why I'm here so much later in the year than I normally am. First of all, the LGC requires audits to be submitted to them by, have in the past, October 31st. They changed that deadline this year to December 31st. We were still shooting for October 31st, but we had 3 things happen that were out of our control that prevented us from doing that. Due to the government shutdown, the OMB delayed the release of the compliance supplement, and the compliance supplement gives us all our audit procedures for doing the audits of the federal expenditures. That supplement did not get released until November 25th. Second of all, the LGC provides sample statements for us to go by of how they want the disclosures presented and if they have any changes to the statements in the audit report. That sample report did not get released till December 5th. And then finally, we have to do a data input worksheet that we upload with the audit to the LGC. And this year they changed it so we have to do that through the logo system rather than just doing the Excel spreadsheet and uploading it to them. And that required a username and password, and we did not get our username and password from the LGC until December 15th. So to do all those things, that's why we're a little bit later. We did submit the audit on December 17th, though, right after that. So then, if you go to the next slide, I'll start by saying we did have an unqualified opinion. So we had no findings to report for the financial statements or the CFA. And the 2025 audit was a federal single audit, and of course, that's why we had to wait on that compliance supplement to do the federal expenditures. That meant you had federal expenditures over $750,000. The next slide is the government-wide statements. This would be Exhibit 1 in the audit report. Total assets and deferred outflows at the end of the year were $117,753,000. That was up $10.7 million over last year. Total liabilities and deferred inflows were $32,283,000 at the end of the year. That was up $525,000. The largest changes in the assets, CIP was up $8 million over last year. And for the liabilities, accounts payable, trade payables were up $3 million, and loans, which were the bonds and outstanding loans, were down $2.5 million. So the combination of those two made the increase of $525,000. The next one is the statement of activities, which is Exhibit 2 in the audit report. Revenues for the year were $23,101,000. Expenditures were $12,842,000. And we have a change in net position for the year of $10,258,000. And you'll notice down there we had a restatement of net position. That's due to GASB 101, which was a new pronouncement that was effective for this fiscal year. Ruben and Richard had to go back and calculate accrued sick leave because we have to include accrued sick leave as well as accrued vacation and compensated absences now. So instead of throwing it all into this fiscal year, the $52,350 represented what the accrued sick leave would have been at the end of June 30, 2024. So that's restating the prior year, and then this year it only hits on the profit and loss the amount of sick leave that changed for the current year. Revenues were up $2.4 million. Of that, operating revenues were up $1.3 million, and grant income was up $1.1 million. Expenses and operating expenses were up $1 million over the prior year as well. Then the next slide shows revenues by source. This would be from Exhibit 6 in the audit report. I'll hit a few of these over there. Water was $6,608,000, which accounted for 29% of the revenues. Wastewater was $10,068,000, which accounted for 44% of the revenues. We had other revenues of $756,000. The ARPA grant was $3,696,000, or 16% of the revenues. The PFAS grant was $332,000. The AIA water grant was $23,000. AIA sewer grant was $33,000. Investment earnings were $1,429,000, which was 6% of the revenues. And contributed capital was $152,000. So total revenues for the year were $23,101,000. And then going on to revenues budget versus actual, the original budget was $16,555,000. Final budget was $95,871,000, and actual revenues came in at $22 million. And the reason this looks so skewed from the final budget to the actual is the I-85 capital project had the full budget amount in the budget numbers, and then in the actual numbers, it's only what's been received this year. So the whole project is in budget, but just what's been received is in the actual. Then next, just looking at the normal operating revenues, wastewater was $10,067,000. That was up $436,000, or 4.5% from last year. Water was $6,608,000, which was up $517,000, or 8.5% over last year. Going to the expenditures by category, operating expenditures were $19,814,000, which accounted for 84% of the expenditures. Bond debt, which was 7%, was $1,522,000. Loan debt was $1,735,000, or 7% again. And then payments to the town of Button, $500,000, accounted for 2%. So the total expenditures were $23,572,000. And then when we look at the expenditures budget versus actual, that's the same type thing. The original budget was $16,555,000. Final budget was $95,871,000. And actual were $23,572,000. Again, that's the revenues for the expenses for the I-85 project had the full budget amount in there, but only what had been expended in the actual. Fund balance at the end of the year, 58% was net investment in capital assets. That number was $49,558,000. Then unrestricted was 42%, which was $35,910,000, for a total fund balance of $85,469,000. Cash balances this year versus last year. Cash at the end of the year was $35,494,000. That was up $1.4 million over the prior year. And on the flip side of cash, the outstanding loans, this is a list of loans outstanding at June 30th. And I won't go through and read all this. There were no new loans this year, the same sources as last year. Actual balance at the end of the year was $14,038,000, which was down $1.4 million due to payments during the year. Then same type thing, we have bonds outstanding, same sources as last year. The balance at the end of the year on those bonds were $10,925,000, which was down $1.1 million. And I think that's all I have as far as slides. I would like to state, as Ruben did, that we're waiting on LGC approval of the audit. If there are any changes, they request any changes, we'll certainly make those and furnish a different audit comment. I don't anticipate any. But in case you're wondering why we did go ahead and do this before the audit was officially approved, the LGC requires that we present to the board within 45 days of the date of submission, which was December 17th, so we couldn't make it to the next board meeting. But I'll leave it. If anyone has any questions for me or Ruben, or need me to clarify anything on the slide.
Okay, hearing no questions. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Pardon me?
I make a motion that the SGWASA Board act to officially receive the audit report for fiscal year 2024-25.
Okay, we have a motion to receive the audit report. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a second. Is there any discussion on the item? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. And our next item is.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Sorry about that. I tend to roll from one to another. But our next item is item number 11, and this is fiscal year 25-26 budget amendment number 10. And
I'm back.
back again, Ruben. Thank you.
Agenda item 11 is budget amendment 10. Requested action is seeking the board of directors approval for budget amendment number 10. Executive summary, budget amendment number 10 reallocates existing budgeted funds to cover higher than anticipated property and liability insurance addendums associated with newly placed vehicles and equipment, as well as an increased software renewal cost at the wastewater treatment plant. The amendment is fully offset through internal reallocations and has no impact on fund balance.
So you can ask.
Budget amendment number 10 reallocates budget to pay addendums for property and liability insurance on vehicles and equipment being purchased and placed in service during this fiscal year, 25-26. In July of 2025, budget amendment number 1 reallocated $8,000 of the original budget from property and liability insurance to pay for increased premiums on workers' comp insurance. In hindsight, some of that budget reallocation should have been left in place. Property and liability addendum invoices are higher than anticipated due to assets being delivered and put in service sooner than expected. Budget is being reallocated from the credit card collections fee expense line, as these fees are no longer being absorbed by the authority. Budget amendment number 10 also reallocates budget to pay an increased renewal premium for utility cloud software at the wastewater treatment plant. This amendment has no effect on fund balance as well. Below the background, you'll see previous amendments and their effect on fund balance. And on the following page, you'll see that the transfer from fund balance is $0. And under the expenditures, billing and collections is decreased by $3,000. Wastewater treatment is increased by $1,200. Depreciation board and other is increased by $3,000. And projects and studies is decreased by $1,200. And on the following page is supporting documentation for the budget amendment. Just to go into a little bit more detail, insurance, property, and liability account is being increased by $3,000, and the credit card collection cost is being decreased by $3,000. And this is to reallocate additional budget for property and liability insurance addendums to add new vehicles and equipment in 2025 and 2026. And below that, software and IT is being increased by $1,200, and project studies and consultations is being decreased by $1,200. And this is for the utility cloud renewal, 5% increase over prior year. And below that, you'll see all the transfers from fund balance, including budget amendment number 10. And year to date, we have allocated $14,630,747 in fund balance. Any questions?
Go ahead.
So I've got a question about the newly placed vehicles and equipment. I know we got a generator. I know we got a Caterpillar. What other assets are we talking about here?
Other things would be, we got 3 trucks, I believe, and we also got equipment that's on trailers. So we have to insure the trailers and the equipment that goes on
the
the trailers.
generators on the trailer, yeah.
That's what comes to mind.
Okay.
Forefront.
I forgot about the 3 vehicles. Thank you, Ruben.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. And our next item on the agenda is item number 12, and this is the Unidirectional Flushing Pilot Program task order approval. And Chris, you going to?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Hope you are doing well. So I'm here to present a task order for unidirectional flushing, our pilot program. But before I do that, I wanted to give you a background on what unidirectional flushing is and potentially what we're asking for with this task order. So you have a presentation in front of you, understanding water system flushing at SGWASA, ensuring water quality through effective maintenance procedures. So through this, I'll give you an introduction to the flushing programs project, a regular water system flushing, unidirectional flushing, what that means, comparison between regular flushing and unidirectional flushing and the strategic use of that, value and strategic plan alignment, an executive takeaway, and closing thoughts on this. So introduction to flushing programs. Why flushing matters. So the purpose of flushing maintains water quality by removing sediment, reducing stagnation, and controlling bacterial growth. Flushing methods, you have regular and unidirectional flushing. They're both distinct techniques used to clean water distribution systems effectively. The benefits of this, flushing extends pipe life by reducing corrosion and buildup, and also prevents costly repair and replacements. And operational compliance goals, effective flushing supports regulatory compliance, reduces risks, and improves customer satisfaction for utilities. Regular water system flushing. So the characteristics and purpose of regular flushing. Routine water quality maintenance. Regular flushing maintains disinfectant levels and reduces water age in low use areas to ensure water quality. The system functionality check. Flushing tests hydrants and valves, confirming operational readiness for emergencies without complex planning. There's limitations on regular flushing. So you get low pipe velocities, which limit sediment removal. Flushing circulates water, but also may stir loose particles, causing discoloration. And this is a cost-effective routine practice. So regular flushing is simple, frequent, and cost-effective. It helps reduce stagnation and maintains chlorine residuals, helps maintain chlorine residuals. So that's regular flushing. Unidirectional flushing. So unidirectional flushing involves high velocity water flow through isolated pipe sections to remove stagnation, sediment, and corrosion byproducts effectively. Unidirectional flushing is just exactly what it sounds like. One single way of flushing. So essentially what you would do is you would close valves and force water to come one way. What it does is it pulls all the sediment to the end of the pipe and pulls it out. As opposed to bringing it through multiple sources, multiple ways, it brings it through one way. Unidirectional flushing requires detailed mapping and valve operations to ensure controlled unidirectional flow towards designed outlets. The benefits of this unidirectional flushing improves water clarity, reduces discoloration complaints, enhances hydraulic performance, and supports regulatory compliance. There are challenges and considerations though. UDF requires staff training, valve monitoring, and customer communication, but it does offer significant maintenance benefits, which I went through earlier as far as pulling out sediment, also pulling out corrosion in pipes to ensure longer pipe life. So comparison between the two and strategic use. So you have a chart that gives basically an aspect. So you have goals, planning required, valve operations, so on and so forth. So for regular flushing, what this says is it maintains water freshness. For unidirectional flushing, it does the same thing, but it also cleans pipes and removes buildup. Very minimal planning required on regular flushing, Unidirectional flushing is more extensive and deliberate. Same thing for valve operations. It's minimal on regular flushing because you're not operating valves. But on unidirectional, it's critical because you were closing valves to ensure that you were sending water a specific way. For regular flushing, there's multiple directions in which water will flow. Unidirectional flushing, just that. It's one controlled direction. Water velocity on regular flushing, low to moderate, but on unidirectional flushing, it's a higher water velocity and you're getting a higher scour of your pipe, which ensures better cleaning of your pipe. Cleaning effectiveness of regular flushing is limited, but you have a higher success with unidirectional flushing. And the frequency, you can do routine, regular flushing, unidirectional flushing. It's more periodic or targeted because it takes a lot more effort to go through and figure out exactly what to do to cause that unidirectional flushing. So the key point here is regular flushing keeps water fresh day to day. Unidirectional flushing is a tool that cleans and protects the system. The next slide is a chart of what this actually looks like. So regular flushing, think about you have water coming in your top pipe here, top left pipe. And you can flush at any one of these hydrants here. And as you do, water can go throughout different pipes. It can pull from different pipes and stuff like that. But if you compare it to the one on the right-hand side, you are strategically closing valves here. So on the left-hand side, the top left, you see that you have a circle next to the fire hydrant. On the top right, on the unidirectional side, you have cross-out valves. So essentially what that means is you've closed those valves. You are forcing water to come a certain way, so you are scouring that pipe. So as you look vertically, you are scouring that vertical pipe, and then you are scouring that horizontal pipe on the bottom here. You are intentionally causing water to go a certain way. You're intentionally cleaning specific pipes. So unidirectional flushing isolates the main and moves water in one direction at higher velocities, and which is what removes accumulated material. So for this specific task order I'm going to talk about in just a minute, I wanted to give you an overview of where we're looking to do. So you have a map here, one of our GIS maps for the Golden Pond subdivision. So this is a rather large subdivision. There's 5.3 miles of water lines within this specific subdivision. So right much distribution on here. So the key we want to make here is there's a lot of ways in which water can move through this specific subdivision. So, and with us not have done a task like this previously, it's imperative, at least to me, it's imperative that we strategically do this. We don't just randomly go out and flush certain areas. We are going and specifically closing specific valves to clean certain pipes here. And we would do this throughout the whole subdivision. So it's strategically planned which ones we close to get a certain outcome. Then you go back and open another valve and you clean another section of pipe. So value and strategic plan alignment. Strategic role of flushing programs. This ensures compliance with regulations and supports operational goals by improving water quality and reducing complaints. The unidirectional flushing program is a direct execution of SGWASA's strategic plan, improving water quality, protecting infrastructure investments, strengthening organizational performance, and fulfilling the authority's environmental and governance responsibilities. The benefits of unidirectional flushing are they remove sediment and biofilm, it minimizes corrosion risks, and enhances system reliability and compliance. Proactive flushing reduces unplanned maintenance, emergency response costs, and reputational risk associated with water quality complaints. And resource stewardship, supporting flushing initiatives protects infrastructure, reduces emergency repairs, and safeguards financial stability. So the executive takeaway here is flushing is essential to maintaining water quality and regulatory compliance. Regular flushing maintains freshness, but unidirectional flushing actively cleans infrastructure. Targeted unidirectional flushing protects assets, reduces complaints, and lowers long-term costs. SGWASA's program directly supports strategic, operational, and governance goals. So the closing thought here is flushing is not just maintenance, it's an asset stewardship. Unidirectional flushing is a strategic investment in system reliability and public trust. Continued support ensures long-term water quality and infrastructure protection. So it's kind of a good background on what unidirectional flushing is, the benefits of it, and the differences between regular routine flushing as opposed to unidirectional flushing. So now, agenda topic 12 is this specific task order. So what I have here is a specific task order for Golden Pond subdivision for unidirectional flushing. The requested action is approval of the task order for unidirectional flushing pilot program with Hazen and Sawyer. SGWASA is requesting board approval of a task order with Hazen and Sawyer to conduct a pilot unidirectional flushing program in the Golden Pond subdivision encompassing approximately 5.3 miles of water distribution mains. This pilot will enhance water quality, improve operational practices, and inform future system-wide flushing efforts. The background here, SGWASA employs 3 on-call engineering firms for different services that we have: Hazen & Sawyer, CDM Smith, and McGill Associates. We use each one of these design or engineering firms for different things, and they all offer a wide range of expertise across many engineering disciplines. So, engineering work performed at each engineering design firm is accomplished via a task order process. Task order is written for a specific project, and it contains the scope of work and an outline of the related costs for such work. The draft task order is reviewed by SGWASA staff for any modifications prior to finalizing the task order. Once the draft task order is finalized, the engineering firm submits the final task order to SGWASA for review and tentative approval. And tentative approval status is required until the funding associated to the item is secure. Analysis. As we continue to upgrade and improve our water system, a dedicated flushing program is needed to improve water quality throughout our service area. The task order that Hazen has provided is a pilot test for unidirectional flushing that focuses on the Golden Pond subdivision. This task order from Hazen includes updates to the water model, development of a unidirectional flushing program in the subdivision, 5 days of field support from Hazen for SGWASA, project administration with meetings between Hazen and Sawyer and SGWASA, as well as 2 board presentations, one prior to starting the pilot and one after. As we continue to upgrade and improve our water system, a dedicated hydrant flushing program is needed to enhance water quality across our service area. The task order submitted by Hazen proposes a pilot unidirectional flushing program focused on the Golden Pond subdivision, which is approximately 5.3 miles of water distribution mains. The task order scope includes updates to the system model, development of a unidirectional flushing program to the subdivision. Okay, I've already gone through that. But basically, it includes more than just the unidirectional flushing program. So we will make direct use of the I need to modify this this legislative memo. So following the board's review and approval, SGWASA staff will move forward with the next steps in the approval process and schedule this work for spring of 2026. Based on the results of the pilot program, SGWASA and Hazen will make fine-tune adjustments to the unidirectional flushing program and then plan the next areas to be flushed. So our recommendation is that the board of directors approve the task order as shown in attachment 1. Schedule. Hazen plans to start work as soon as the notice to proceed is issued. And then we will have the following project schedule. You'll have a draft document 10 weeks after execution of the contract, and final pilot, which would be 2 weeks after receipt of comments on draft deliverable. The cost for this task order is $45,000 and shall be paid out of the engineering projects in the 25-26 budget. This is focus area 1 of the strategic plan of safe, reliable, and sustainable water system. So our recommendation is the board of directors approve the unidirectional flushing pilot task order for Hazen and Sawyer totaling $45,000. And you have the task order in front of you as the next attachment.
Okay. Who's got questions?
I have questions.
Okay.
$45,000, that's just for the Golden Pond project. So it'll be additional money for every time we do a different project or a different subdivision.
So again, this is a pilot program. So this is to help us develop a larger program in the end. And so what we would do is we would take this information, we would not only have a direct unidirectional flushing program, this information will be put into the model, and then we would further develop a unidirectional flushing program for our whole service area based on this pilot.
So once they train us how to do this or train SGWASA staff, then you guys can run it yourself. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's very strategically planned. So it's critical to have things like this that are housed inside of a water model, because you know how the characteristics of water move throughout your system.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are you closing valves, but it's very strategically planned. And so it's meant to scour mains. It's meant to clean, essentially have good water quality. But with that, you want to make sure that you are pulling water from exactly the places that you need to pull from.
Right.
And you need to see what kind of effects that has on your distribution system. So just because I say I'm going to close this valve doesn't mean that I'm not going to end up pulling too much water over here. So that's why it's critical that you put this information into a water model to see what it does to your distribution system.
Okay.
Commissioner, may I just add to that, please, that I'd like the board to look at this as a technology transfer project. We, as an organization, have not been trained to do unidirectional flushing. It's been around for many, many years, and it's very beneficial, as you saw from the presentation this evening. We need help and training on how to do this. We will have to rely on some consulting in the future to help us with the model. Models have software for UDF that we can import all this information, and it will help us tell what sequence we need to do as far as closing all those valves and doing the flushing. But the intent is basically a technology transfer with the consultants on site to help us do this so that we can take on the next subdivision, and use this throughout the entire service area. So after we get 2 or 3 under our belt, we'll get even better. But I think there's always going to be a reliance of needing someone to help us with the model for the UDF because we don't have technologists on staff that do this, so we rely on the consultants for that. So I don't think that you'll be looking at a cost this high because it won't be as involved, but there will be some reliance with the consultants as part of our operating engineering budget that we have throughout the year.
So is there an annual cost with this going forward, or is this just per job, per pilot? $45,000 for Golden Pond, and then if we do another subdivision, it'll be a unit price for the whole project.
Exactly. So basically just for the engineering. So what we'll do is we'll learn through this project. And then when we come out of this, we'll have booklets and understanding of how to do this program and manuals and procedures and get everyone trained. And we'll say, let's take on the next subdivision across the street or to the east or to the west. Mm-hmm. And let's do what we can do and our understanding and take the training wheels off, if you will, and move on to that. So it'll be a great combination program for regular flushing, which has a benefit, but also unidirectional flushing, which scours those mains, which is really important. That's something that you just don't get from just opening a hydrant here or there and letting it run for a day or two.
Yeah.
And I think most of us have seen that hydrant that runs for 24 hours or 48 hours with the water flow.
Mhm.
It is cleaning that pipe over time, but it's not providing that scouring action that we're looking for to actually clean the pipe. Hope that answers your question.
It does.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Did you have something?
Pardon me?
No,
No?
I'm good.
Chris, this is a stupid question about your little dog.
Nothing, there's no super.
So if we close these, how does this pipe get done?
Same way. So, Crystal, do you mind going back to that presentation? And it's the one that has the
program.
pictures of hydrants.
The diagrams?
Yeah.
There
That's
you
it.
go.
Okay, so if you look at this picture up on the screen,
Uh-huh.
okay, so if I want to clean that top pipe,
The top pipe.
okay, and I'm sorry I don't have a pointer, but you have a hydrant on the far left-hand side here that has a circle. You would close that pipe, and then you would close that valve, and then you would go to the next road, the next vertical road, you would close that valve. And then you would go to the next vertical road and you would close that valve. And what it does is essentially it forces water to go a certain
Through
way.
those certain ways.
So you're cleaning the top pipe. Then you would go through and you would open your valves and do the same thing with the bottom pipe. And it's strategically done. And with that, what you can do is, again, you're looking at it as a pilot program, but what it's basically doing is you're developing a standard operating procedure to go clean this specific line. So you'd say, to clean Davis Street, you need to close valve 1, 2, and 3. To close C Street, you need to say, go on and so forth. So it develops a specific dedicated task, a dedicated standard operating procedure for each road, each section of pipe, each hydrant. And with that, there's also benefits, other benefits that we haven't mentioned here. We are touching every single hydrant within that subdivision. So we will not only get the information that we need to see, okay, does this hydrant work? Is there anything wrong with it? We are also able to provide that information to the fire department for their annual or their inspections that they have in state. So it provides further benefits.
Okay, thank you.
So would there be temporary disruption to individual houses
There
during
will be
this?
temporary disruption to that, and we would be very strategic in communications with people on this.
Okay.
You know, this is a planned effort. We would plan it months in advance about when we're going to start, how long it's going to take, stuff like that, and we would be in constant communication with the residents in the affected area.
We'll invite all board members out to see you as well.
Yeah. When this project starts, and we'll be accessing these valves in the streets and Woodline and wherever else they decide to put valves in the tank, do we have the appropriate replacement valves on hand?
Good idea.
When some of these valves malfunction and don't work for replacement?
Well, two things to answer that question. I'm not sure if we have 60 valves in stock, but we have a variety of.
Well, not 60, but
when you look at that large neighborhood.
Well, I mean, once you start, you do a few,
right?
It'll give you an idea of what you're working with.
But I like what you brought up because I was going to add that to the end of the conversation. We have a note in here where we'll make direct use of our newly purchased valve exercise machine, which we purchased this year, with the idea that we can do the valve exercising. Because you can see just from the screen how many valves have to be open and closed, not just once, but in a sequence. And so we're going to better understand valves that have been closed for years that should be open, or valve exercising to make sure we have that control during the water main breaks. And some are going to break. You're right. The infrastructure is going to break, and we'll have to replace that. So that's not the first day, but it'll happen sometime that week.
I mean, this neighborhood's been around a while.
Yeah.
However, when you're talking about this particular type of flushing, and let's say we're going to do this and the older parts of Creedmoor,
Oh, yeah.
I foresee a mess.
A mess in terms of
broken valves.
As in when you are going to flush the high velocity of water through some of these pipes in Creedmoor.
Sure.
I think that we will probably see a lot more breaks than, and not just Creedmoor, probably right here in Butner as well.
I think
When the project takes place.
That is a chance, that's for sure. But
That's one of the fears I have with this type of flushing and the older infrastructure that we have.
well, and part of our pilot will help us demonstrate out of 100 valves in water mains, what percentage were broken and what repairs did you have to do in the middle of summer versus winter time when we have them.
Yeah.
Those type of things. So, and we really, if the board approves this evening, we really don't want to start this until we get past the water main break season, the winter freezing. Plus, we want to wrap up the water filter media replacement project that's going on at the water treatment plant. And if the board chair would like, I could have Chris just give us a 60-second update on that project, if you would like, before he sits down.
Yeah,
That'd be
because
okay.
you read my mind.
Well, how about that?
You knew I was going to be on my end of comments tonight.
Yep. So, Chris, would you like to just give us a 2-minute update?
Do you want them to approve this first, or do you want me to go through that?
If you would, well, it's up to the chair. Chair, do you want to get a motion to finish this item first?
That was all I had, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Didn't I make a motion?
Do we hear, we'll now entertain a motion to approve this task order.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
So
Brief
that-
update there.
Yeah.
An
Now for the
update on
update.
our filter media replacement project that we have at the water treatment plant. So we have 5 filter basins. Inside of our water treatment plant, we have 5 filter basins that house all the filter material and all the nozzles and all the concrete and everything that are needed. So December, the beginning of December, we pulled filter 1 offline for excavation of the material, replacement of the nozzles. We did find some concrete needed to be repaired with that. I'm happy to report that everything went smoothly with that. Filter 1 is back online. So filter 1 has been done. Filter 2, they started excavating the material today. So as of right now, the project is on schedule and is on budget as is needed. So if everything goes smooth, anticipate that we will be complete with this project sometime early to mid-April timeframe, hopefully.
Thank you.
That's total. That's the code.
Thank you, Chris.
That's the total. That's the code on the purchase.
It's still over.
Yes. And now, comments from our executive director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members. First of all, thank you to Carlene Evans this evening for performing our audit for us this year. It's always a pleasure to work with her team on the audit, and also want to compliment our finance team, our finance director and assistant director for the fantastic work that they do managing our budgets for us, and also providing all the information for the audit. It's quite an exercise, and again, they've done a fantastic job. Also like to thank Chris for your presentation, and Ruben again for your introduction and the items that you've covered for this evening, and of course Crystal for all the information you put together for us this evening in the presentations. Just an item for the board. I sent you information today, and also at your desktop you will find a copy of the executive summary for the PFAS pilot study number 1. So that information, I think that question was brought up at the last board meeting when that pilot report was going to be finished. I provided you with details on where that report is on our website. It's actually on our website at this point. I'd be happy to go over any type of key findings or strategic recommendations or any questions the board may have. It's a very extensive report. Of course, I encourage you to read the 3 or 4 page executive summary I put together, as well as the information. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have once you've read that information. I think the most important part of that is that we have a lot of activities in progress as far as our current design for that. So that's all I have for this evening. Again, thank you all of the board members for everything that you've approved tonight and the discussion that we've had. And I hope that you found the presentation on unidirectional flushing very educational. Thank you.
Thank you. And there are comments from our attorney.
No comments tonight.
All right, and then we'll move on to comments from our board members and Butler Councilperson Tom Lane.
I'm trying to catch up with everybody and where things are. We'll be taking a tour of the facilities probably in the next couple of weeks, so find out where things stand. I've been riding the area, especially looking at the layouts for all the sewer line work and trying to think of ways that the town can assist in dealing with concerns that our citizens will have as we proceed on some of the streets, because there are a couple of them that'll be hit really hard. 8th Street in particular, we're looking at that, they'll be hit on both sides of the street. And I'm sure that we'll need to get reminders out early and often to all of the employers in the area when we start talking about closing Central Avenue, and we need as much lead time as we can to make sure everyone is made aware of all the closures that will be necessary to accommodate what's going to be taking place. So look forward to working with the staff and with our council in making sure that everybody's aware of what's going on as far ahead of time as possible. But I think letting employers know so they can take action as well will help us all out a lot. So look forward to working together on that. That's it.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to talk about tonight the medium replacement project and knowing that it started and filter 1 is already online. That sounds good. No delays. And also the presentation by Chris, the regular flushing and the union directional flushing, meaning one directional. And the regular flushing keeps our water fresh day to day, and the tool for the unidirectional, that's going to keep our water clean and protect the system, like you say. It will push out some of that the debris or what's been on the pipes for a long time. I really was impressed to hear about that presentation, because I think that's going to be, those two together, I think it's going to really create a quality of water and hopefully the color and the taste. I think that would be very impressive. So learning these things and sharing them with everybody in the public view tells us that it's just not a one shot. Our system requires different programs to have good water. So I appreciate that, the presentation, the energy and effort you put into that, along with all the other employees. We appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. And Greenville Commissioner Robert Way.
Chris, I know we were waiting on some parts and some things for some of our generators out in the field still. Has all that been taken care of?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to which ones there were, but I know Golden Pond Pump Station generator has been repaired. We are still in process of trying to get a final quote to repair another pump station generator. But to my knowledge, yes, everything else has been repaired that needed to be repaired.
I know a while back we had replaced some of our sewer pumps, and then we had some that we had repaired for like placement. Is that correct? Am I correct thing? Like if we had a sewer pump go down.
So several months ago, the board approved us to buy bypass sewer pumps.
Correct.
So we bought 2 bypass sewer pumps, and we have actually used one of them, maybe 2 of them to present day. We did use one of these for the Golden Pond subdivision. So yes,
And they've seemed to work out pretty good.
yes, very well.
And my last thing to touch on was the new Joe P pump station. Everything's on course with that. Everything's good.
Yes, it is.
The heads-
Yes, it is. We're on schedule, on budget for that project, I'm happy to say. You see, maybe if you've driven down that area, you see the pipe laid out and the catch basins throughout the roadways, which is exciting for us to see that. And then we've also have CP2 underway, getting started basically on the 8th Street area in the town of Butner. A lot of, erosion fabric has been installed throughout those areas. So Butner Council persons, we are just waiting for the final schedule from the contractor so that we can share it not only with the board, but the public and also the town as well. We've had some great coordination with the town manager, your PIO and those type of things as well. So we want to make sure we get the schedules in front of you, in front of everybody. We have the opportunity with our PIO working across the area to communicate, sign up for alerts, maps, those type of things. So we'll continue to put a lot of information out there ahead of time. And one of the things that I like about this current contract, park construction, is that they're going to be doing 2-week look-aheads for us so that we'll be able to broadcast that information as well. So we're going to try to keep on top of it. I'm sure that we'll slip up here and there, but we'll make those tweaks along the way. We've got 2 years to get that completed. And I'll just say something I didn't say, if I may, Mr. Chair, is that, Happy New Year. We're about 2 years away from completion of the I-85 project. So it's been a long journey so far. It's getting closer. So thank you.
And last thing I had was we've got these colder temperatures that's going to sit in for the next few days. So my thoughts will be with our crews. Hopefully they will not be needed. But however, we know the system that we're dealing with. So just please let me know if there's anything I can do. If I need to bring out some coffee or some food or something like that.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else, Commissioner Wade?
No, sir, that's it for me.
All right. Thank you. And County Commissioner Russ May.
Yes, board, as you know, I'm still learning and I got a lot to learn. And I have met with the director appropriately a few times to get a better handle on things and what I need to be looking for and so forth. And try to catch things, but I noticed something tonight in the audit review that is curious to me. And so, and I know it's likely historical, and I don't know, so that's why I'm asking. So I see on the bonds outstanding on page 13, or at least the graph 13, I see it that there was it looks like the acquisition of the old Creedmoor system, I think, I'm not sure, but on there's an assumed USDA, which is a loan assumed from Creedmoor for $4 million. And so why would we, again, I know we're going back in history, so help me, but why are we buying a system than assuming a loan, and what was that loan for?
It's in their system.
Sure. So when we bought that system, there was certain financing in place that they had recently gotten from USDA to improve their system. And instead of refinancing that because it was at favorable rates and favorable terms, we worked it out with USDA so we could assume that indebtedness instead of
Was that funding
having to
placed?
retire.
Was that funding placed to improving the system?
So far as I know, it was, yeah.
Okay, do you know do we know what was done with that $4 million? Because that would have been directly through the Creedmoor system,
They
correct?
got significantly more than $4 million from USDA they got a combination of grants and loans that was spent improving their system. And I don't have a detail of exactly what was.
I'd like to know if there were actually improvements made to the system prior to the sale, what were they? And because apparently there's still concerns. And so I'd like to know what they were. If you're able to find that, that's okay. When you assume a loan like that, then it'd be nice to know what you assumed it for and what the purpose of that loan was when you take on that. We're taking on that in the acquisition.
Best of my recollection was that was to replace some of the piping, some of the older piping that was part of the system.
So if that was the case, I'd like to know where in Creedmoor did that occur?
I believe it was sewer piping, wasn't it? One of the sewer rehabilitation.
I believe that was sewer. Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Director. I just I noted this, and since I've been on this board, what I'm learning considerably a lot, and I appreciate all the patience of the board members. Mr. Chair, thank you. But I see a continued momentum of striving to meet expectations, and I see that happening. And so it may not meet everyone's mark, but it's what I'm observing through the process. And so we just got to keep going.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay. STEM Commissioner Kenneth McLam.
Happy New Year to everyone, and look forward to working with everybody on the board. That's all I have.
Thank you. Creedmoor Commissioner Georgiana Kaczynski, our Vice Chair.
So I'm going to respond to Commissioner May. You're exactly right. And in the 6 years that I've been on this board, I've seen continued momentum on water quality by SGWASA. And I was new at one time too, and I asked a lot of questions. And I still probably ask too many, but every day's a learning experience. So when we talk about traffic and the construction that's going to happen, I'm going to beg, because we have a problem at the Hillsborough Joy Pede Highway 15 intersection as it is, which is not SGWASA's fault. Please give us as much advance notice when that construction in that road is going to be closed or anything, so we can let the citizens of Creedmoor be aware of that, as well as the ones in Button. And the only other question I have is, in December, at a meeting with Creedmoor and SGWASA, we talked about the fire hydrants in the entire SGWASA system have been renumbered, and the tags have to be changed. So the tags were in December, but there were no clips. So at the end of December, the clips were in. So where are we on retagging these fire hydrants?
Yeah. Chris, are you still here? Can you help me answer that?
Utility superintendent, but I believe we are just about complete with that project.
Okay, because I looked at the fire hydrant nearest to my house and it's still an old tag. So that's why I'm asking. Okay. And I know you can't get them all done one day. Right. But I just wanted to ask.
The tags will be put on the chains. So I'm not sure if that's, if the old tag was removed on that. But I will follow up with my utility superintendent.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. Scott, is this executive summary of the PFAS pilot study #1 on the website?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
The full study as well as the executive summary.
Okay. I'd like to encourage everyone to go to the website and look at this and read it, because it's very encouraging. We're a lot further along with the PFAS and PFAS than that anyone believes we are. If you listen to social media, we're not doing anything, but this is evidence that we most definitely are, and we've been working on it for quite some time. And I was encouraged by the granular activated carbon and anion exchange resin, the results of those two in the removal of PFAS, and especially the granulated activated carbon, how that reduces it. And if I read this summary right, it gets us down below below the recommended level for in the parts per trillion. So that's quite encouraging. And The other thing we got is I need to remind everybody that Article 3H of the SGWASA bylaws requires that an annual meeting be held on the second Tuesday of February. And during the annual meeting, SGWASA officers are elected by the board members, and the 4 officers to be elected shall be chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. And I just want to make sure, I think I've talked to everyone earlier about this at different times, but I made the decision not to run for re-election this year as county commissioner. We will have a new commissioner representing District 6 and 7 because Tim Karen also made the decision not to run for re-election. And by virtue of that, I would like to remove my name from any potential candidates for chair of SGWASA. I'd like to step down. And that's related to me not running again. So board members, I'd like for you to think about who you'd like to nominate next month. And we look forward to some changes coming up in February. And I don't have anything else tonight. Is there any other business to come before us? Is there any need for a closed session or executive session? Hearing none, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say bye.
Bye.
All those that want to stay, y'all can stay as long as you want to. Thank you all.